Hello, my name is Matt, also known as Alpine. I work professionally as an airport planner for my day job, and today I'm going to be roasting your Minecraft builds, specifically airports. If you'd like to submit your builds to get roasted, go to alpine1.co and then click on Join the Spruce Tree for Minecraft Cities. It'll redirect you to the Discord. And from there, go to the channel called Alpine Build Review. Make sure to follow these instructions down here. Okay, so let's get started with the first airport. This is by Mr. Knights. So take a nice good look at it. We have the terminal building itself up on the right-hand side. We have the start of a parking garage on the left, and we have a road with the curb going through the middle. So what I've done, I've drafted up a couple notes. First of all, I don't really know which ones are departures, arrivals, or taxi or pickup going in this road. I think that maybe these are a little bit messy with the stairs. Circles are definitely your friends when you come around this side. I know it can be a little bit difficult, but if you Google the words Minecraft circles, it'll really help you out. So just make sure to do that. I do see that you have an extra lane coming in here. I'm not quite sure what the purpose of that is. You do have a solid line underneath. And these lines up here with the hatched pattern, I'm not quite sure what that is. Usually that means no parking, but I clearly see somebody parking here. And usually this is for the drop-off area. Taking a look at this overhead section, I don't really know where this water drainage goes. It might make sense going this way, where maybe it's funneled here and then maybe down here somewhere. I'm not quite sure. But going in this way, you're definitely going to have to deal with that, and please do not put it into your parking garage. I am curious if you do have a layout somewhere with your whole plan for your airport, because it makes a huge difference. And I'm also curious how many curb levels you have and where the actual ground is itself, because I do see that your entire airport is quite a few blocks above the ground itself. So if this is your ground level and you're extending it over here, it's very important to know if you're going to have multiple levels for your departures, arrivals, taxi pickup, etc. If you are planning to have multiple levels going down here, I would recommend having the bus loop on the lowest level and then bringing them up into the terminal building. Or I guess you could keep this on the level of the curb, but that's up to you. Taking a look at this section right here, this is your check-in directly underneath. I am curious why you have such depth for your skylights. I see it's probably like 5 or 6 blocks deep. I'm not quite sure what the purpose of that is, but I don't know, maybe you could explain that to me. Up top here, you do have the green roof, which I do like the aesthetic, but it does attract animals. However, there is an example in Chicago O'Hare in the FedEx building that actually takes this into account. So let's go take a look. So here we are in Chicago, a city that I have never visited, but I would love to one day. This is the Chicago O'Hare International Airport. And a little fun fact, you probably see that there's, what was it, like 7 runways? Not a lot of airports have this many runways. Now, the reason for this is a lot of the American airports, they started to operate before the jet engine was invented. So they had a lot of propeller planes, which means that the propeller planes are smaller and a lot more sensitive to wind direction, which means you need more runways in a lot of different directions to have the capability to land those aircraft. So, little fun fact for you. But if we go down here to the FedEx facility, we can see that there is indeed a green roof. Now, there are some reports on this talking specifically about the different plants up top here, but you're never going to get anything too big because you really do not want birds on top of these roofs. Now, why would we not want birds nesting on top of this roof? Well, let me tell you, birds and planes generally don't mix well, and I can promise the plane is going to win every time. So assuming that you don't want to make bird soup constantly over your airport, please try to avoid it unless you read the report about the FedEx facility at Chicago O'Hare. If you'd like more information, I'm not sponsored by these people, but this is a pretty cool website. But with that being said, taking a look on the side here, talking about light, I love to use clear story windows, and you'll see that a lot of airports do this as well. Clear story windows are different than skylights because they are on the side, and they're different than regular windows like these ones down here because they don't touch the ground. They're usually up pretty high, and it just helps get some extra sunlight into the space. Now let's start to take a look at the airside components way over here. The biggest thing that I see that is incorrect, your boarding bridges are on the wrong side. You do not board from this side. They need to be flipped around. You also have buddy parking right in the middle of this stand. Can't do that. Can't park there, buddy. Nope, can't do that. You also need aircraft safety lines, which look a little something like this. Also, the location of this light is not great. I don't know if it's a template that you're building and you're going to move it, but definitely do not keep it there, please and thank you. I would highly recommend putting it somewhere over here where a plane is not going to hit it. For an additional reason, you need to consider future reconfigurations, which basically means this paint here and all of these stands for the aircraft, they may not necessarily stay in the exact same spot. For example, if airlines decide to change from this size aircraft to ones that are, well, from here to here, much, much smaller, then you're going to have a lot more aircraft stands, and this is going to cause you a giant headache in the future. Continuing on, let's take a look at the curb of the airport, where you have the terminal and check-in on the right. You have the actual curb itself with all of these lanes. Again, I don't know what the purpose of these lines are. I don't know what jurisdiction you are in, but in most of the world, that means don't park here. And on the left here, we have a parking garage with a bridge for pedestrians to connect and then walk across here. So similar to the last one, I have also made some notes. First of all, I don't know what kind of vehicle this is, but why is it on this road? Is it dropping off passengers? Probably not. I don't know what kind of vehicle it is. I mean, it looks cool, but it really, I don't think it fits in this particular area of your airport. Taking a look at your crosswalks, you have way too many crosswalks, and I'll tell you why. Over here, you have the bridge for the pedestrians connecting into this parking garage, and then you have this crosswalk right here. That makes sense. However, you have another 1, 2, 3, 4 crosswalks down here with no bridges. I don't know why I did 3, but whatever. You get the picture. Basically, nobody's going to cross here and then walk down here. You really want them to walk over here and then cross on this one. So you really want to minimize the amount of times that you have a crosswalk crossing lanes of traffic. Additionally, it will also be quite helpful if you have overhead flashing lights. I know my sketch has drawn them a little bit short, so probably bring them up a little bit so that buses can fit underneath as well. And a bit more of a structural problem, because I do have an undergrad in architectural engineering, specifically a concentration in structural engineering, so hold on tight. My biggest problem is the connection between the lower supports and the upper supports. So you can see there's a gap here. This one connects. We have this beam coming in here, connects to this column. That's good. Check mark. Well done. Over here, I don't know what's going on here. It seems to just go into the glass. Realistically, the beam would be taking all of this load going across here. So this is what we call a load path diagram. It just shows where the actual load is going and how it flows through the structure. In this particular case, this is the one that connects directly through, which is this one right here. That's good. Now, these ones here, you have these supports coming in here, and then it connects over here. So then the load has to be transferred this way and then down here, or this way and then down here. In reality, it's going to be a combination of both of them. Now, you have that for this one, and this one. So ideally, try to avoid those. If this is a beam and it is continuous the whole way across, then you're going to be adding a lot of shear and moment into it that is not really necessary. So you're going to want to try to optimize your structure. Now, another reason to try and avoid that, it does create some deflections. So this is before adding your load, and this is after. So it's going to go down like that, and you want to try to avoid that as much as you possibly can. Next, we'll move on to the airside. This is a great aerial picture. I love pictures like this. However, I have some notes. Once again, taking a look at the terminal, I don't know where this water drainage is going. You don't seem to have any parapets over here. Now, realistically, a lot of this would be absorbed into the grass and then it would kind of flow through it. But if you get heavy rainfall, then some of it may go this way, and you probably don't want it going onto your apron. Taking a look at your aircraft stands, you do need aircraft safety lines. Now, I just kind of boxed this out. You don't necessarily need the one on this end or these ones right here, but you definitely need this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. And if you wanted to connect it into this next stand, what you could do is you could basically just continue this diagonal line right to the midpoint, and then this one also as well, and then it basically just creates an angle right there. I'd also recommend looking up some line marking standards, because I've never seen anything like this where it goes across. Usually what happens is you have this called a lead-in line, and the aircraft basically follows this right in the middle, and then you have a tiny little boop right across, and that tells the pilot to stop the nose gear directly on the intersection of the two. You probably don't want to have your plane going all the way up here, especially because your passenger boarding bridge is sticking out right here, and the nose of the aircraft would probably go into the building. Now, once you've made these adjustments, you'll notice that there is a section right here. You have your GSE staging and storage, which basically means all of your baggage carts, anything called ULDs, universal load devices, which is basically a box that you can put stuff in, and then you put that in the aircraft instead of individual bags. There's a lot of different things you can do. But GSE is ground support equipment. So basically everything you need to get the aircraft turned around and out. Now there's a difference between staging and storage. Staging, it means that everything here is temporary. Storage means you're storing things. Now over here, this is on the wrong side. You don't board from this side. You need to board from this side. I did see over here, is this on the correct side? This one is. Yeah, these ones are correct, but you have these ones flipped over here. Technically, the aircraft do have doors on this side, but you can't do that. I don't know why, but don't do that. I would also recommend using a thing called a fixed link. So instead of this part moving, basically you're going to have it as a solid section of the building. Then you're going to have a thing called a rotunda, and then you have the passenger boarding bridge, which is the section that does move and connects to the aircraft. Oh yeah, okay, I see up here. So add rotunda, basically right here. It's a little circle thing which lets this thing rotate around the fixed link. And one last comment for you. Make sure to use those clear story windows. It's a really, really great way to add more light into your space. Next, we have an airport by Yemi. This one is quite interesting, but I, once again, have a few comments. First of all, taking a look at your surface parking lot, I do notice that your lighting with these red dots is quite inconsistent. You have a lot of lights over here, and then for some reason in here, there's not many at all. I don't quite understand, but maybe take a look at that. I also want to point out the circulation in your parking lots doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I would recommend just removing this section right in the middle, and then just having this as flowing this way and also this way. And also, you're probably going to want some circulation over in this corner and this corner as well. So maybe what you can do is either expand this way or take out this last couple rows right here and just make it so you can actually drive around. I would also recommend adding some signs or lights over here so that people know to go this way to get into the terminal, because you never really know which way people are going to go. So the easier you can make their lives, the better. Another comment I have for you, why do you have crosswalks up here? Where are they going? Even if there is a sidewalk on this side, which there does appear to be, I don't think anybody would ever come here and walk down here. My theory is that you have this bottom one built here and then you copy and pasted it up here and maybe forgot, but I would probably take those out. Something I like about this airport is that this is great for future planning. So you have a surface parking lot, which generally with a lot of airports, directly outside the curb, you are going to have a parking garage. So in the future, once your air travelers expand and more people want to take flights, then maybe it'll make sense to build a parking garage. And then in that point, you could probably add these crosswalks back in. Make sure to add your parapets right here, which basically just means a little thing sticking out. I do see that you have them up top, which is one block. That works. But make sure to add it there. You're also probably going to want some HVAC. I see you have a little bit over here, but you're definitely going to need more texturing and more items on your roof over here. Another point, this road is quite steep. Now, if you were in San Francisco, this might be okay, and you could probably go down to like a 3-to-1 slope. Right now, it is a 5-to-1. But you have all this extra space down here that's flat, and you wait so long to start this ascent. So what I would recommend doing is maybe just start it back here a little bit, and then you can add an extra block to each one. And also, this is steep. This is very steep. Next, we'll take a look at the airside components. You have the terminal building over here, the taxiways going down here, and a very nice looking runway. But I got a couple comments here too. First of all, let's push this fence away from the runway, because even if somebody decides, hey, I want to bring a vehicle up here, you don't want them this close. It'll probably interfere with your radio equipment, especially for instrument landing system approaches. So just be very careful with that. You also have your touchdown markers, which are these solid ones. These are pretty well close to halfway down the runway. These ones seem to be okay down here. I don't know what the discrepancy is here, but definitely bring these closer down this way, especially for the length of this runway. Now, I've drawn two sections of lines, one over here, then one here. This, I would recommend adding a rapid exit taxiway. Now, maybe for the size of the airport, it might not make sense, but, you know, in future, once you do expand this and you get a whole bunch more air travelers, then having a rapid exit taxiway, that's going to make it so aircraft can land, get off the runway faster, and then somebody down here can take off much, much quicker. Now, you have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-ish aircraft stands, so you probably don't need them yet, but that's just something to consider in the future. Now, something to consider right now, you need a hold short line that looks something like this. You have the double bars and then the double dashed lines. The double dashed lines means if you are going in this way in your aircraft, you see the dashed lines. That means, yes, you can cross. But if you are coming from this way over here, you see the solid ones. That means stop. Did I mention I'm a pilot too? Just by the way, something else that you definitely need, you need a fillet. So this center line for your taxiway, you have a nice curve going on here, but you do not reciprocate that on this edge or this edge. There is no reason to pave all the way out here. 0 aircraft tires are going to touch it unless they go into the fence, which hopefully doesn't happen. So here, my friend, you are wasting taxpayer dollars. Unless it's a private airport, in which case do whatever you want. And the last couple pictures for you. Here are some aircraft hangars. I do like this. This is pretty cool. It is quite close to your taxiway itself, but honestly, for the size of aircraft, I do think it's actually okay. But if you're the pilot, make sure to do not deviate from that center line. Otherwise, your wing may come off. Anyway, I do like this texturing. I think it's quite interesting. But I don't know, like it initially reminded me of tire marks. And that's why I put this comment. You have one on the center line, which is good. You have one over here. But then this one seems to be further out. But if it does actually mean tire marks or wear on this taxiway from the tires, then definitely make sure that it is symmetric about this center line right here. Same idea right here. I'm not quite sure what it is. Maybe it's different panels or something, but maybe you could let me know. Now, something I really do appreciate is on the edge of taxiways, you do have blue lights, which you have done correctly. Congratulations. I also like that you have this thing. This is very common at airports. It is a radar thing that does stuff amongst things sometimes. Here's a view of the airside part of the terminal. I do not have any comments on this. I thought this was very interesting. I'm curious to know what standard you're using to create things like this. I have personally not seen any, but then again, I work in North America, so I think you said it was based on somewhere in Brazil, so I'm going to take your word for it. But I do like that you have your aircraft safety lines just like that, and you have your lead-in lines, and this is what I was talking about. The nose wheel of the aircraft stops either on this one or this one, depending on the aircraft type. I do very much appreciate that. I also like these lights up top here. If you wanted to, I don't know if you have any night pictures, but you could add some light blocks all the way down on the ground, so it kind of makes it look like these ones are projecting all the way down here. Very cool. This is a really cool airport, but if you make any expansions, I would love to see it. And roast it again. Mwahaha. Okay, that's all I got for you. My name is Matt. I'm an airport planner. If you want me to roast your stuff, go watch the instructions at the start of the video. Especially, you know, give me more airports. I love roasting your airports. Make sure to check out City Design 101 if you would like to plan and build your own Minecraft city. I will help you to gather all of the information you need, and I'll help you to create a cohesive plan that you can share with your builders, or you can build by yourself. But it's going to help you create the best Minecraft city that you have ever built. Okay, that is all. Alpine1.co. Check it out.